All right, guys, happy Friday. Happy Friday. We got some big news in the crypto space. So it looks like the SEC approved the Ethereum spot applications. Now, there's two pieces to the spot application. There's the 19B form, and then there's the S1 form. So I think what I was reading, the 19B form is basically suggesting a rule change. So yeah, so they didn't allow Ethereum to be a spot ETF. So I guess that is going to be the change, or that's going to be the rule change. And then we're still waiting for the S1 form. So the S1 form, looking it up here to get the exact definition, but it's the registration statement. It says the form S1 is the registration statement that the Securities Exchange Commission requires domestic issuers to file in order to publicly offer new securities. That is issuers for S1s for initial public offerings and follow on offerings of new securities. So it's weird that they're deeming it. Maybe the 19B4 form is going to deem it a commodity because they said it's not a security, right? Like they deemed these things not a security. So I'm assuming that this is just forms that they have to fill out, and maybe in those forms they could distinguish and say, okay, this is actually a commodity and not a security. But either way, getting this approval, nobody was expecting this approval, including myself. I thought they were just decline or delay their decision on improving the application. And so it looks like we're a step closer to getting that Ethereum ETF. So they say it could happen in the next month, in the next few weeks. But we'll see what happens. You already saw the price of Ethereum shoot up. We were at like around 3,200, and now it's at a price of 3,800. So, I mean, substantial increase. It looks like it was like a 20+% gain in the last couple of days. And I think it's because people knew that, it was going to get approved, the insiders. So people were probably putting money in, and 20% is pretty good on your money. So congratulations to people that hold ETH. Should be happy. Most likely most likely since this happened, we will get an approval of a spot ETF for Ethereum by the end of the year. And if we get that, I think Ethereum could definitely go over 10K, or at least hit 10K this bull cycle, and it'll probably just go up from here, right? Because looking at Bitcoin, when it got its spot ETFs approved, it had like 1 month of down, being down, and then after that, it just shot up from there. Right now, we're at 69,000, and I think we're going into, I think, a bull summer, and we're just going to see higher prices. A lot of people are saying that we could get to 100K BTC by the end of July, but we'll see. I think we'll definitely hit it by the end of the year, and probably a lot higher than that. For Ethereum, it just depends on when it gets their ETF approved. But once it does, maybe a slight pullback. Because right now, like I said, we're waiting for the S1 form. They said that could take at least up to, a few weeks, a couple months. Who knows what the SEC is how long the SEC is planning on taking to approving these ETFs. All right. So that's my take on that. Let me just share this article, and we can look at the article and then look at some of these prices. All right. All right, cool. So this article says U.S. SEC approves exchange applications to list spot Ether ETFs. So it says the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission on Thursday approved applications from NASDAQ, CBOE, New York Stock Exchange to list exchange-traded funds tied to the price of Ether, potentially paving the way for the products to begin trading later this year. While the ETF issuers are also have to get the green light before the products can launch, Thursday's approval is a major surprise win for those firms in cryptocurrency industries, which until Monday had expected the SEC to reject the filings. Which makes sense, right? If you look at like a month ago, the SEC said it was launching an investigation on the Ethereum Foundation. And then also Uniswap also got sued. So I think Uniswap, right? Uniswap is a big DEX on Ethereum. So, you know, I think they just did that to delay even more. But I could see why, and I was one of those people. I could see why people thought the SEC was going to reject the filings. But it's a surprise, all right, because they were launching an investigation, and they said they thought it was the security, but now they're saying it's not. And I wonder how that works, because the S1 form, like we just read in the beginning, it said that it's basically to register a security. So I'm not sure, why they have to fill that form out, or it's just that they don't have a specific form for crypto, or in the S1 form, you get to distinguish that it's a commodity, or they determine that it's a commodity and not a security. And I think a lot of the people amended their applications to not include staking. So staking is a big part of like the Ethereum ecosystem. You can make a good percentage if you stake your Ethereum, although it's very hard. So most people stake their Ethereum on Lido or Rocket Pool and stuff like that. All right, so let's keep reading here. It says 9 issuers, including VanEck, ARK Investments /21 Shares, and BlackRock, hope to launch ETFs tied to the second largest cryptocurrency after the SEC in January approved Bitcoin ETFs in a watershed moment for the industry. This is an exciting moment for the industry at large, said Andrew Jacobson, Vice President, Head of Legal at 21 Shares, noting it was a significant step towards getting the products trading. And that's true. Once the with the Bitcoin ETFs got approved, the spot ETFs got approved, it just set the tone to, approve everything else, right? It just made it so much easier. And again, happening this fast after the Bitcoin ETFs got approved is just showing real strong signal that, the bull run's here and it's going to be a really good one. This is an exciting moment for the industry at large. Head of 21 Shares, read that. Okay. Thursday was the deadline of the SEC to decide on the VanEck filing. Market participants were bracing for the thumbs down because the SEC had not engaged with them on applications. But in a surprise move, SEC officials on Monday asked the exchanges to quickly fine-tune the filings, sending the industry scrambling to complete weeks of work in just days, sources said. Reuters could not ascertain why the SEC appeared to have a change of heart. They probably just didn't want to go to court, right? Like, if you remember, they were getting sued for not approving the Bitcoin ETFs for a while, and they lost those lawsuits, and they lost the lawsuit with Coinbase. So they were just losing a streak of lawsuits, right? So they probably got tired of losing those lawsuits and said, okay, let's just go ahead and prove this without people having to keep urging us. And they saw, and also Hong Kong approved the BTC and Ethereum ETFs at the same time. So they was like, you know what, let's just do that. The introduction of spot Bitcoin ETFs has already demonstrated significant benefits for the digital assets and ETF space, and we believe that spot Ethereum ETFs will similarly provide safeguards for U.S. investors, said Rob Morocco, global head of ETP listings of CBO Global Markets. Yeah, right. Because if you buy actual Ethereum, you have to cold storage it. You have to put it on the exchange, and a lot of people will lose their money if you let them have to manage it themselves. So having these ETFs is almost like having stocks or shares of bonds, and it's easier for people to manage their crypto portfolio, the average investor. All right, NASDAQ and NYC declined to comment when asked about the Ethereums by reporters at an industry event earlier on Thursday. SEC Chair Gary Gensler, a crypto skeptic, declined to comment, and SEC spokesman said in an email announcing the proof that the agency would not comment further. Yeah, so they're just kind of running away right now. They didn't want to approve the ETF but I think they're just getting forced into. And I don't know if Gary Gensler will have his job much longer. Uh, I think a lot of the things that they're doing are lining up with the presidential election that's coming up pretty soon. So, everybody needs to look good. So this makes sense that a lot of stuff is getting approved. All right, so it says the exchange applications has sought SEC approval for a rule change required to list new products, but the issuers still need the SEC to approve ETF registration statements detailing investor disclosures before they can start trading. Okay, so like I said, so that's what the S1 filing is. It's to have statements and disclosures for investors and for the SEC to go over it and make sure the wording's correctly, so people don't so people understand what they're getting into, right? Unlike the exchange filings, there is no set time frame in which the SEC has to decide on those statements. Industry participants said it was unclear how long that would take. Two sources familiar with the process said many issues are ready to launch, but the corporate finance division of the SEC has indicated it's likely to request changes and updates in the coming days and weeks. The SEC rejected spot Bitcoin ETFs for more than a decade over market manipulation worries, but was forced to approve them after Greystone investors won a court challenge last year. So it's important to note that, again, it's half of the way there. We're not going to see inflows of institutional money coming into Ethereum anytime soon, especially if they, delay that second piece, the S1 forms. But, it's a step in the right direction, and it looks like at least by the end of the year, we'll probably get these things approved. So yeah, it just depends on that and when that institutional money starts coming in. All right. The SEC's projected more than a decade, rejected spot Bitcoin ETFs for more than a decade over market manipulation worries, but was forced to approve them after Greystone won a court challenge last year. That's right. They were losing a lot of court battles. Sui Chung, CEO of CF Benchmark, the index provider, the index provider for several of the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, said Ether is more complex than Bitcoin. Ether is more complex than Bitcoin, and it could take months for the SEC to review the statements. But since the Bitcoin ETFs offer an established template, there's only so much slow rolling the SEC can do. So yeah, I think a few months is probably the longest it'll take, but I don't think it's going to come out in the next couple weeks for sure. So it's definitely going to be some time, but it's definitely positive. An array of investors, including hedge funds, wealth advisors, and retail investors, have poured their $30 billion into crypto ETFs. Thursday's decision is another tailwind for cryptocurrency industry efforts to push mainstream finance. This week, the UK regulator has also approved listed cryptocurrency products, while the U.S. House of Representatives passed a landmark bill seeking to provide regulatory clarity for cryptocurrencies. And that's a good thing. All right. So, all right. Very positive news when it comes to the crypto market right now. And basically, what we're going to start seeing is the institutional capital come in. We're already seeing it with Bitcoin. I mean, we're seeing hundreds of billions of dollars coming each week to Bitcoin through the Bitcoin spot ETFs, right? So it's only going to make sense that that's going to happen to Ethereum. So Ethereum could go way higher than what I'm predicting. I thought because I didn't think they were going to get approved. So, I think Ethereum was going to go way higher, probably 10 to 15,000, just depending on the inflows. And, I think BTC is going to go way higher. But the thing is, now that institutional capital has another ETF to share their funds with. So they're probably going to start dumping some of that money into Ether because it has a lower market cap, and it most likely is going to be here for a long time. So very positive news for crypto investors. And yeah, I think, this summer should be very interesting when it comes to prices. So if you have a portfolio, make sure you're keeping up with it. Make sure you're watching, the prices, and make sure you have targets, right? Maybe some people want to hold for the long term. So if you want to hold for the long term, you don't really need to watch. But if you're trying to make the most of this crypto bull run, I think you need to watch the market and see where prices go, take profit, and make sure you're getting into quality cryptos. And that's pretty much it. This Friday, I will see you guys on Monday. when we do the market update. But I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.